Hi, welcome. Oops, can I start that again? I'm sorry. Hi, welcome to RSVP. I'm Kathleen Cronin, your host for this next half hour, and we're going to be talking about some very interesting things, new developments in therapy, dealing with phobias and addictions. And with us today is Dr. Roger Callahan. I did it again! Sorry! Oh, oh, oh. Tony, you'll have to just beat me later. Okay. Am I feeling self-conscious?
It's the thought of those cookies.
Is that it? No. Well, if it was in any other part of it, that I would just, use the flub and make it part of it, but it's not appropriate there. Dr. Roger Callahan, clinical psychologist who has devised the new Callahan techniques for curing, or treating, I should say treating.
Curing.
Curing. All right.
Right. They avoid using that word. And the reason it's avoided is because they don't cure.
That's right. There is a distinction.
It doesn't even appear in the psychological dictionary. I have a psychological dictionary at home. The word cure is not in it.
Hi, welcome to RSVP. I'm your host, Kathleen Cronin, and we have some very exciting news, I would call it, although our guest today has been on many of the national television shows across the country. His name is Dr. Roger Callahan, and he's developed some techniques that he is calling the Callahan technique that cures phobias and anxieties and addictions. And so today we're going to be discussing this and inquiring as to how he devised these methods. And we're very happy to have you. I really thank you so much for coming on RSVP, Dr. Callahan.
Thank you, Kathleen. It's a real pleasure to be here.
Yeah, and you live out in Indian Wells, California.
Palm Springs,
How do you manage to treat people and live that far away?
I treat by telephone.
No.
Yeah, I do. I developed some special methods. That's how we go about it. Telephone.
By the telephone.
So we can be anywhere. And that's especially good for agoraphobics, people with severe panic disorders, who are terrified of leaving the security of their home. I mean, anyone who has ever experienced a panic disorder or agoraphobia, it's the most terrible condition that you can imagine. It's really horrifying. And people who aren't familiar with it just cannot understand how utterly terrible it is. So many of them cannot leave home, or they can't go very far away from home.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, it's terribly crippling.
We can't even imagine would be plaguing us, or something that people live with their whole lives.
Yeah.
How did you get involved in this astonishing kind of cure? I mean, I started to say treatment, and you said, no, I do cure.
Yeah.
And most times you don't hear therapists or doctors ever claim that they can do that.
Yeah. Yeah, they hope to, their highest goal usually is to try to manage the problem better. But we are able to cure it. And I got started in that. I think it's because I was a phobic child myself. I was just riddled with all kinds of fears. And so I was very interested, because they don't make any sense, you know. They're not, and the victim knows that they're ridiculous, but that doesn't help one iota. And so I went into psychology, I think, to try to find the riddle of what's going on here. And my doctoral research at Syracuse University was on the subject of children's fears, interestingly enough. And my whole career, I've been a psychotherapist for my whole career, and my goal has been to try to find faster, better ways to help these problems.
Now, I know that you were highly criticized for doing what was somewhat unconventional. I know that you had a practice and you were doing sort of the normal things, and then suddenly...
Well, what happened was that throughout my career, I've made some major moves in how I practice. And this last one, I think, it wasn't so much criticized. It was that I think my patients thought I went off my rocker. And they left me in droves because I started doing some very, very unusual work. And it held the promise when I started doing it of being the most exciting development that I've ever seen in my whole career in psychology. And it has proved to be just that. But yes, I lost a whole very busy practice. It was quite frightening at the time. But
well, are your techniques still kind of under scrutiny? Are they
oh, yes.
beginning to be?
Yeah, most doctors haven't yet heard about this new work. I'm doing everything I can to remedy that. That's why I come on shows like this, to talk about it and let them know about it.
You're a real pioneer in this area.
Yeah, it's a whole new, it's really totally unrelated to any other kind of treatment before. And typically the treatments would consist of behavioral modification, cognitive therapy, where you talk to the people, psychoanalysis, which has proved to be very, very useless in these problems. And they try to get them to tough out their problems, you know, and it's terrible. When a person has an intense fear, they just can't really do that. And so it's been a real dilemma as to what can we do for these people? How can we help these poor panic victims, agoraphobics, other phobics? I have people who have had to give up their career because they could not get up in front of a few people and talk. And some of these people, I treated a man who was a hero, an Air Force hero, highly decorated for all kinds of bravery beyond the line of duty, showed tremendous courage under combat. He said he would rather go back into combat than get up in front of a group and talk. And he meant it. He wasn't kidding. He wasn't exaggerating. He meant that seriously.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense to our thinking mind.
Well, they don't make this. The problem doesn't make sense. That's what's so bloody difficult about it.
Well, I've investigated in my own way so much of the what we'll call the self-improvement things. I mean, we are an addictive species, aren't we? I mean,
Oh, yeah.
we're addicted
What's the
in
biggest
so many...
problem facing our country and perhaps the world today? The problem of addictions.
And I know we struggle with them, whether it's someone who smokes. Fortunately, I don't have any of the smoking, drinking, things like that. I'm not addicted in that way. I do have an addiction to chocolate, and it is an addiction.
Well, you know, most of the experts are baffled by addiction. Addictions are the toughest problem in the world to treat, tougher than anything. And I think I found some things that help us understand why that is. But what kills me is that the researchers now are talking about to try to find a new drug to cure addiction. I mean, it's almost, to me, it's pathetic. Because it's just going to be another addictive drug. That's the best that they can offer at this stage of knowledge.
Well, even in, I know that the 12-step programs with Alcoholics Anonymous has been incredibly successful. And there's a whole area opening up called codependency, which I guess as the more of that unfolds, we find that we're all probably codependent in some way.
Yeah.
But I've also noticed that many times people who were addicted to alcohol or drugs then become addicted to the meetings. So it's almost like a substitution for the addiction that they have.
It's a much better problem.
Oh, much better problem indeed.
If indeed it is a problem. The word addiction is used a little bit too loosely. We talk about joggers being addicted to jogging because of the endorphins and so forth. I think that's utter nonsense. I don't doubt the facts as they describe them. But I don't think you can talk meaningfully about addiction to a good feeling or good health that's healthy and normal. And that's healthy and normal, those natural endorphins release. And the word is used very, very loosely. But addiction is a very, very serious problem. And through this anxiety work, my whole theory about addictions, it's radically new, but every addiction I maintain is addiction to a tranquilizer. I don't know how much time we have, but I could talk to you for at least an hour and a half or 2 hours about addictions and the nature of addictions. Every addiction, I don't care if it's for chocolate, for heroin, for cocaine, is addiction to a tranquilizer. The importance and significance of physiologic addiction is vastly overemphasized. That's not the main problem. It's true, there are physiologic addictions, but they're relatively trivial. They're relatively trivial. The real problem in addiction is addiction to the tranquilizing effect of whatever it is: chocolate, cookies, food, heroin, cocaine, marijuana, pot. They're all give people relief. Now, interestingly enough, the biggest drug that's used is aspirin. But I never saw anybody addicted to aspirin. And the reason why is aspirin doesn't eliminate anxiety. It eliminates or reduces pain. And so the people they don't get addicted to it. There are some people who have to have a lot of it for severe arthritics or something like that, but that's different. But you don't see anybody getting addicted to it. But they can get addicted to biting their nails, picking their body, they're pulling their hair out, addicted to, and it's a real addiction. But the crisis of withdrawal is not the physiology of the thing at all. It's trivial, absolutely trivial. The real problem is the anxiety crisis that takes place when the addiction is totally removed, whether it's heroin, whether it's cocaine, marijuana, chocolate, nail biting, or whatever it is. That's the real problem, is the crisis of anxiety that takes place. Now, if we could find the way to naturally and quickly reduce the anxiety, then we can have something of great value to offer not only anxiety patients and phobics, but also addicts, which are the toughest problem in the world.
Oh, now especially because of the war on drugs. I was going to come to that. Is this something that could be applicable in that way?
The war on drugs is another thing that I could get quite upset about, because you see, that's not the problem. The problem is the tremendous demand for these drugs. There's a tremendous demand for tranquilizers, the same as for cocaine. And it's the same issue. It's the same problem. Now, there are some drugs that have a different effect, an immediate effect on the way a person feels and so forth. But these are people who need tremendous relief from anxiety. All of them, all addicts, are anxious people who find something that gives them temporary relief. The solution has got to be there. We know from Prohibition how effective it's going to be to try to increase the police and the lines on the borders and all that. Fine, but it's not going to work.
That's true. I know that there has been a lot of controversy relating to just what you're saying.
Yeah, it's the wrong approach.
And I think that many people who are so frustrated, even if it's something as simple as chocolate, when people say, well, just stop. Or
they don't
for instance,
understand an addiction. See, they cannot stop. It's impossible for many of them to stop. It's not an issue of willpower. An addiction, by definition, is something, it's an irresistible urge that starts taking place. Something else goes along with addiction. I found a phenomenon that I call it psychological reversal. It used to be called, with a vagueness and a lack of understanding, self-sabotage, psychological blocks, and so on. I found the key to this, and that is the real key. With every addict has got this. The worse addict they are, the more self-sabotaging they are, and that's why smokers in a cancer ward, with their throat cut out, still are putting cigarettes in here.
Right, and
they can't help
we
it.
have such judgment.
They cannot help it.
Yeah,
They're addicted to the tranquilizer.
Well, I had the privilege of seeing your some of the tape on the other shows that you were on, and I thought, since you had the opportunity to do some people right there on camera.
Yeah, we did cable network news.
Right.
The lady was in Georgia. I was in a studio in L.A., and we eliminated her desire for chocolate, right?
Well, I have my chocolate right here.
Good.
I am. I'm addicted to chocolate without a doubt. But here's, as you were saying earlier, the thought of actually not being addicted to the chocolate anymore made me anxious because well, I don't have anything else. I
That's
don't
right.
smoke,
That's
I
what
don't
they.
drink.
That's
Don't
right.
take my chocolate away.
You're getting close to a crisis of anxiety.
Yeah.
You see.
Yeah. I mean, it's sitting here. I can smell it, and I'm going to have a bite before. If you cure me, I was like, I'm going to have my last bite here. So can I have a bite of my chocolate brownie?
Sure you can.
All right, I'm going to.
Be my guest.
Oh, good. Oh, good. Okay, here goes.
Real good?
Mm-hmm.
Now you can't have another bite. Now I say that for a reason. I want your crisis of anxiety to increase. Now, you know why I want it to increase? To see if we can help you with that desire. See, here's my theory. If we eliminate the anxiety that's aroused when a person has an addictive urge, I don't care what it's for.
That's so good.
Yeah. We could do a commercial on these.
Right. But we won't.
If we can eliminate that anxiety or reduce that anxiety, then the urge will go down. The urge will decrease.
Okay.
You see? And people who take tranquilizers, who take this for anxiety, or shoot heroin for anxiety, or take crack, anything that they take, it does not help the anxiety. If it did, there would be no problem.
Well,
if tranquilizers cured anxiety, there'd be no problem. They don't. They mask it. They hide it. While the underlying problem is insidiously getting worse.
well, is my underlying problem going to get insidiously worse if I
Your
stop?
desire, if you really focus on how marvelous it would be, and then you can't have them, well, we'll even put them out of your reach. Now, how high does your desire go up now?
12.
It goes to 12 on a 10-point scale? 10 is the highest you can go, but you're going to a 12. You really want more of that.
Yeah, I do. It's good.
Okay, now can I just show you one of the steps of what we do to try to reduce this? Now, I need you to be objective.
All right.
Now, some people think what I'm doing is trying to distract the person.
Okay.
And it wouldn't work if you were distracted. And you'll notice, when I'm treating you, I'm going to ask you to keep focusing on how good it would be. So if I were distracting you, I'd want to hide them, wouldn't I? So here's what we're going to do.
Yes.
I'm going to show you an anxiety spot on the body that if you don't have the complication, it should help reduce your urge. I need you to be objective. In other words, don't help me out by imagining that you're feeling one way or the other. Just report how you really are feeling.
Okay.
Where are you now, your urge?
It's only a top scale of 10. I'm 10.
Okay. Tap right here. While you think about how good it would be, a little bit more below, there, right there, a little more central.
Okay.
While you think of how good it would be to have this,
Okay.
stop. Where's your urge now?
At least still an 8.
An 8. But it went down?
Well,
Well, it didn't go down. Maybe it didn't go down.
maybe it didn't go down.
Is it still a 10?
I think so.
Well, don't try to help me out.
I
It's
think
really
it's a 10, yeah.
Okay, now this is very unusual. Very unusual, but I'll tell you what it
told you I'm
is.
addicted.
I'll tell you what it is.
Okay.
It's that block. So we got to remove a block. Say, I accept myself even though I love chocolate.
I accept myself even though I love
Say,
chocolate.
I accept myself even though I'm addicted to chocolate.
I accept myself even though I'm addicted
Now,
to
tap
chocolate.
under your eye again. And look at that and think of how good it would be. Stop. Where's your urge? A 10-point scale.
8.
8. Okay, so it went down 2 points. Okay, now I'll show you. I understand we're going to take a break or something. I'll
Yes,
show you.
we'll take a
I'll
break.
take you through the rest,
Okay.
and then we'll see if we can't get rid of it completely.
Good. Well, we have Nurse Jeannie Ledbetter, who is going to talk to us about homophobia, and then we'll be back and we'll see how I'm doing on my chocolate addiction. Don't go away.
You know, it really hurts me to see how many intolerant people there are in the world. For example, some people are very intolerant of the homosexual community. Personally, I don't mind sex in the home. As a matter of fact, I think that's where it belongs. I'm a virgin, though, so my knowledge comes only from hearsay. Anyway, for those few unfortunate people out there who don't like gay people and get stressed out when you're around them, Jeannie has the perfect solution for you. Go to Mars. That's it. Go to Mars. I have it on the highest authority that there are no gay people on Mars. You know how I figured that out? It's common sense. What color is Mars? Red, right? What color are the men on Mars? Green, right? Green men on a red planet? Come on. Have you ever seen a gay person associated with that color combination? Other than Christmas Day, I don't know anybody who'd be caught dead looking like that. Although a couple have been spotted in the Pomona area. And if you're having trouble finding a way to Mars, you can always go to Never Never Land, second star to the right, and straight on till morning. This is Nurse Jeannie Ledbetter, reminding you that when all else fails, get back to basics, and don't forget to breathe.
So where's your urge now? Look at the brown. It's different.
Yeah,
Less.
less.
Give me a
Considerably less. 2.
All right. Well, we could do some more and get rid of it completely, but you notice that you feel more relaxed.
Yeah, I do.
All right. Now that's what's going on. You see, whenever you have an urge for whatever you're addicted to, it can be anything. It means that you're having stress and usually anxiety. And when we do the treatment, the urge disappears, and also the people spontaneously report that they feel relaxed.
I do feel relaxed.
Yeah, and that's what it does. It's precisely the same treatment that we use for panic, anxiety, phobias. We found the underlying cause. The underlying cause is the body's energy system is off balance in these people. We inherit a tendency to get anxious. Some people inherit a greater tendency.
So it's
There's
even a genetic thing.
There's a genetic propensity. You don't inherit anxiety. You inherit, or panic disorder or phobias. What you inherit is a tendency to develop very easily. And what I've found is that what that is precisely is that the body has an energy system. It's becoming more and more scientifically validated and acknowledged. And when that system is off in certain respects, the person is anxious. When you're anxious, you found this can temporarily make you appear to feel better. It doesn't actually make you feel better. It's a false feeling. It masks the anxiety. And that's why everybody's addicted to tranquilizers. And that's what the problem is. Anxiety and its masking. That's the problem in addiction.
Well, you wrote a book about, let's see, lose weight now, stop smoking now.
Yeah, it's the same principle. It has nothing to do with diets.
Had you already developed these techniques when you wrote the books?
Oh, yes. First, I developed the treatments for anxiety and panic disorder, and we had successes that were just incomparable. We have a 98% success rate in curing phobias and anxiety.
See, people can't even hear that.
I know.
98%.
I know. And I don't blame them. They should be skeptical. It's why when I go on shows, and all the shows I've been on where I'm demonstrating this, I don't want to just talk about it. I want to demonstrate it. I want to show that we can do it.
I saw the lady that was afraid of the snake, afraid of the cat, and it was,
they couldn't
weren't
drive.
actors. I mean, it was...
No, they're real.
Yeah.
And I never meet these people. I meet them on the show, and we treat them for things where we can actually show that they're better. Like a lady couldn't drive on freeways for 18 years.
Yes.
Within an hour, she was driving on the freeway with no trace of the fear.
Amazing. Amazing.
So it's a very interesting breakthrough, and we now have real help to offer. But the connection, the interesting thing is, there is this connection between anxiety and addiction. You know what baffled the experts? When the GIs, the veterans in Vietnam, the majority of them were using hard drugs. Now, they did a follow-up study on the returned veterans after the war. They expected to have a bunch of addicts on their hands. Only about 5–7% continued using drugs after they left Vietnam. Well, that puts some real question into the physiologic addiction theory, because they all should have been physiologically addicted. The real story is they were all scared to death, anxious, and not neurotically anxious, as we call it, but they were objectively anxious because they were in a dangerous situation, frustrating and upsetting situation. The drugs gave them temporary relief. They used them while they were in that situation. Most of them, when they were taken out of the situation, had no problem. I remember I was struck years ago when a study in England was done. In England, it's legal to use heroin for pain reduction. It's a shame we can't use it here in our hospitals for pain, but it's against the law. So in England, they use heroin to reduce pain. Now, here's what's fascinating. The patients who take heroin for pain have no withdrawal symptoms. The most highly addictive drug that there is physiologically. These patients don't show any serious withdrawal symptoms. That's because they're not going through a crisis of anxiety. They took it for the physical pain. You see what I'm saying?
Now, why isn't someone correlating this information, or is
well,
it
there
you
are.
that's doing
I
it?
receive calls from a drug center in Baltimore that's been using my work, and they're very, very excited about it. There's a drug center in New Mexico. There's a branch here in LA that I've heard about who are using it, and the people who are using it are quite excited. It's very promising.
So you're training people to do this?
Yes, you know, in October, I forget the date,
I think
but
I asked you about that. I think
the
it was
American
20
Academy of Psychotherapists is having an all-day workshop.
October 21st.
Yeah, and it's called the Anxiety Addiction Connection. They're having a lot of workshops, including mine on the Anxiety Addiction Connection, and I'm going to be training therapists there. In one day, I can train them how to do this technique.
In one day?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes, in one day we can train these people, these therapists, these counselors, these doctors, how to do this technique, and then they have something of great value to offer their addictive patients.
How do you feel personally to be making that kind of a contribution?
Well, it's a lot of fun. You know, I've been a psychotherapist for almost 40 years, and it's very frustrating because, you know, we work very hard, we work long, and we see very, very little progress. The real fun in this work is seeing people transform, to see them change. Well, now we can do it very quickly, and it's very exciting, and it's a lot of fun. It's a lot more fun than waiting for months or years and keeping your fingers crossed.
Well, most people are used to having therapy go on for years, and, you know, it's a frustrating thing. But if you treat people so quickly, you don't have much of a practice, right?
Well, that's an interesting thing. I have a very fine practice because I treat by telephone, and I'm treating people all over the world, really, in Europe, South America, all over the United States and Canada.
But to actually be someone who has implemented something that creates such a dramatic shift in the way that things are being treated that have plagued people so much. And I assume, given that I noticed that you're certainly someone that doesn't stop where the red line is, that you're probably pushing even further out into other areas.
Well, that's right. We are. We're working on virtually all kinds of problems now.
You're working on a book that you're writing about? I'm
writing a book, The Anxiety Addiction Connection, right now, that will have a great deal to offer this problem. It's very exciting. It's very wonderful. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and that's another thing that, you know, speaking of fun, how do you get, are you applying this at all into the realm not just of addictions and things that are not good, but can it be applied to have people enjoy more in life?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. You know, my first book, which is the Book of the Month Club, was a book on the fear involved in romantic love. There's nothing that scares people to death more than intense, passionate romantic love, and the reason is that they've been hurt. Now, that fear, I believe, and its effects, is the cause of an awful lot of unhappiness and unfulfilled relationships and difficulties in relationships. So we can help that now a lot quicker, and sure, it helps people enjoy. It's not just like getting rid of a problem. Most people don't even know they have this problem. They're walking around, there's a plague with everybody walking around with this problem, and then most of them don't even know it. All they know is described by songs like "Why Can't I Fall in Love," you know, that kind of thing.
Well, you know, that's another whole program that had I known, maybe you'll come back again and we can even take a segment to really discuss that, because I know that's something that people, I'm sure, you talk about love, romance, sex, and everybody's going to stay right there glued to the set.
I coined a new word. It's called amorophobia. Amor, you know, love, romantic love, amorophobia.
Well, will you promise to come back and do
I
another
would
show
love
with
to
us?
come back and talk
Talk about that?
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being with us. I hope that people really derive, I mean, it looked a little strange what we were doing, but...
It's very unconventional.
Yeah, and I really thank you so much for sharing that information with us and letting people know that there is another way to approach your addictions and your phobias and actually become cured. Dr. Callahan, thank you so much for being with us.
It's
and
my
thank
pleasure.
you for sticking with us on RSVP. Bye-bye. That's just... Thank you, and welcome again to RSVP Hollywood. Today on this segment we have Dan Fosse, executive producer, writer, and instructor, teacher, originator of the Actors Institute, which is now all over the world and has instructed many people, including myself, and has been a partner with Ted Danson on projects like Down Home, a television series that he's currently working on. So please, once again, let's welcome Dan Fosse. I'm so glad to have you here. I am.
It's nice to be here.
Yeah, well, what else can you say, right?
Right.
We spoke on the phone. I reminded you, we've known each other for 12 years. Mm-hmm. And when we first met, I was in your workshop,
Yes.
which was at the Actors Institute in 1978.
With this big 6'6" guy.
Yes. Oh, gosh. Do you remember what you said to me?
No.
No. Well, I'm not going to say. No. No, you work with people in a very intense way, and you've affected so many people's lives.
Yes.
Dan, look what you're doing. Don't give me those yes answers. How did all that start? Why did you start the Actors Institute?
I started because I wanted to. First I was an actor, and I saw people just moving at a pace that I thought they were beyond, and so I decided to. I started teaching 5 students in a classroom, and I asked them if they wanted to experiment with me. I wanted to try lots of new methods, improv, some things I learned from Gestalt, some things I learned from therapy, some things I've learned from AST and other disciplines that I've done over the years, and they were willing. And then finally, a lot of my students kept on growing and growing, and then a bunch of my students moved to the West Coast, one including Ted Danson and some other people, and then they said, would I come out for a weekend? Mm-hmm. And I said, if you get 50 people who are willing to be locked in a room for 3 days, I will come out.
I was one of them.
Yes, and they got to be willing to do, nothing short. They can keep their clothes on. They won't be anything against their morality.
Now tell the truth, Dan. We took our clothes off.
No. Not that I wouldn't want to, but
Yes.
but it was, just some experimental stuff that I wanted to do. And what I really wanted to do is to have people look at their craft in a new way, to investigate, to discover, because I think that's the basis of all acting, all good acting, is people willing to discover, to open up, to look for new things, to try, to fail. And the group was great because everybody just, they played.
It was.
And the thing about it was that there wasn't a set philosophy to put over on them. My whole idea was that people's uniqueness is what should be developed. A lot of people try to put a system on top of you and for you to follow the system. And what made it a little different is that I wanted you to keep your neurosis, I wanted to keep your uniqueness or whatever it is, and develop that part which makes you specifically you. And that's what the workshop went. It just started to grow and grow and grow, and then I started doing them all over the world.
I should have been in porno flicks then, shouldn't I? No. Save me. No, I didn't say that.
Okay.
No, but we had a wonderful time in those workshops, and it was a very different form. And you affected so many people, and a lot of people at that time. Tom Holland came out of that group. Ted certainly was not as successful by any means.
Well, Ted was running it then.
Well, yes.
That was he was running. He was actually the Actors Institute was Ted. Ted was
Casey.
the one. They were enrolling people, etc.
Right.
Into the workshops.
And those workshops were full. Do you know I took every single program you originated, and there was something like 18 of those things, because it was
Well, they always were for me. They all came out of every time I had a block in my life. So the first workshop was about creativity. Somewhere I was stuck in my own creativity. You can't. Sometimes you can't get to it. So the idea was to explore, to open up, to get to it. And then the second idea was the second time the program I did was about getting to my own leadership ability. And then the last one, which is my favorite program, which I have done very few times, but that's called Into the Abyss.
Yes.
And really, what I wanted to do is to take people, or people take themselves to places they've never gone before.
Over the edge.
Over the edge, yes.
Lost forever.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
life is not fun unless you keep on. You go up to your limit. And then then you break through it. That's what makes life exciting. We go to our limits, and then we break through it, and then we go to the next limit. It's like I change my life every 10 years. I started off as a stockbroker for 10 years.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I was an analyst stockbroker. Then I became an actor and started the Actors Institute for 10 years. Now I'm in my, I'm producing for television and for movies, and I'm in my 10-year stage. I got 5 more years, then I'm gone, and then I'm off to the next one.
You really plan
And I
your
know
life.
where I'm going next too.
You do?
Yep.
Where?
I'm going to the world of art. I'm going to sculpt. I sculpt now too.
You surprise me.
Well, isn't that what life is about? Surprising people.
Yes, it is about surprising people.
It's like pulling the rug out from under you. I think you need to always be. Life should always be dangerous. I feel that that's what makes it. That's what makes it exciting. I mean, then you see. If you don't keep on making it dangerous, you don't keep on pulling out the rug, and you don't keep on trying new things, you fall into what I call the rut. And all my workshops is about, if we walk around looking like this, I want people just to go this way and to go this way. For myself, I gotta go. What's back there? I want to know what I don't know. I don't want to know what I know more. And I think that's what that's the kind of workshops I like to create. To get people to think, to look, to see differently.
Right.
I started collecting art for that very same reason. I used to buy these huge paintings and put it up at the Institute. And people used to come in, and everybody had an opinion, which was great. They were confronted with something that they weren't used to. And some people loved it, and some people hated it. But they started to have reaction and started to look at art in a new way.
But that's so much a part of who you are. I think my experience of you is I'm always on the edge when I'm around you, because it's almost like you instigate this kind of confrontation system. And a lot of the work that you did with the Institute was that. Do you carry this into the producing?
Yes.
How?
Well, I'm always looking for new ideas to work with, and interesting ideas, and slightly offbeat ideas.
What turns you on?
That which is outside of the, sort of slightly outside the mainstream. It's that which is slightly offbeat, off balance, you know.
Now, you did When the Bow Breaks. That was
It was about
highly acclaimed.
It was about a gay cop
Mm-hmm.
and a psychiatrist. And why it was highly acclaimed is because the cop in it was just a regular person who happened to have a sexual bias with men, but it was not treated like that was important. And he had a lover in it who was a nice guy, and there was no, we didn't go around doing those stupid gay jokes that people like to do or stereotyping. Richard Masur did it, and he did a wonderful job. But
Mm-hmm.
we wanted to keep it that he's it's a human being and he has values, and it's very and it's very important that he achieve his values. But it was and their relationship was a gay cop and a straight psychiatrist, and they were friends, just as a teacher and as friend. I have a lot of gay friends, and it's like it's values.
What's the big deal?
The combination of why you're friends is because of values, not because of a sexual orientation. And that was one of the things we wanted to say in the movie. It's about values. It's about what you like and what you dislike.
Well, when you take material like this, do you have an easy time getting people to support your projects?
It was interesting though. NBC was willing to do it, and Ted helped that a lot because given that Ted was going to star in it. No, they were pretty good. They were pretty good about it, and we didn't have too many problems with standards and practices at all. I mean, they were pretty reasonable. We one time, I think, the company we made it for was a little scared because there was a scene where Richard is a little drunk and he goes home and he's standing at the doorway with Ted and his lover, and he kisses them both on the cheek, just as his friend would do. And the company we made it for was, the network will never accept it, it'll never be on the air, and network didn't even blink. It was great, went right on the air, nobody said anything. So they were NBC was pretty good.
Now you're working on another project. You and Ted are on the production
We have some
side.
projects. We have some projects we're still partnership in, and then I have a whole bunch of projects that I have on my own. So there are some. We had a company for 5 years together, and we're finishing up working on those programs, which are films and some television pieces. And then I have my own company, which has a bunch of new pieces.
Now people complain all the time about the executives and all of the stereotype points of view that these people have in their thoughts and the way they. How do you deal with things like this, or is it a myth, from your point of view?
I could never be an executive within an organization. That's not one of the reasons why I left the Actors Institute, where I stopped becoming its head, because I didn't like having the responsibility of running an organization, because your job becomes then about keeping the organization alive, and it becomes a real, for me, being such an anarchist or such an individualist, I didn't want to continually to have to handle the company's problems, which then became my problems. So I wanted to go off, and I wanted to actually get into the actual creating again. I wanted to prove myself about that I could create things from nothing.
And you write.
Yeah,
right?
I write too. But I'm not a writer. I am a producer who likes to write. And so it's a difference. I have friends who are writers that write all the time.
Yeah.
I found a project that I loved, and I made sure that I wanted to write it, adapt it. And I am writing I'm writing a film script right now, but makes I'm interested in finding ideas, creating ideas, and then giving to someone else to write.
I got it.
It's the one thing I'm writing now happens to be about Sicilians in New York, but good Sicilians.
Sicilians, but here you are Jewish.
No. Only the old neighborhood was.
No, of course that's our bond, you and I. But you're Sicilian and I'm Italian, so now what? So what do you want to do next?
Well,
I mean, in terms of finding.
Well, I have a lot of projects right now
Yeah.
going, so that's that's what I'm doing now. I'm doing now. I have a show on the air called Down Home, which is now we're in production. We start Friday, tomorrow.
With Fisher Stevens?
No, that's with Judith Ivey.
Ah.
So we're producing 13 episodes for NBC, which will be on sometime in the fall or early next year.
Great.
So it's a mid-season replacement.
Uh-huh.
I got film projects in the works. I have 2 at Hollywood Films. One is remake of John Doe. Meet John Doe with Gary Cooper.
Really?
I have some
I
partners.
love the remakes. I love remakes.
Well, we hope we can just more than equal the movie and bring it up to our time, because it's a great story about a naive human being who's caught up into political machinations, who at the end, you know, keeps his integrity. And I think it's a story worth retelling. I don't think you should make movies just to remake them, but I think it's worth retelling now.
That's a hard one.
It is. That's very difficult.
I mean, especially in this business, integrity is always being put at risk, I think. Don't you?
Mm-hmm.
How's yours holding up?
Great.
Really?
Well, I think that's all you have. I consider myself sort of I'm naive. I'm very naive. And I ask stupid questions. And I don't know all the machinations of the business. But I do know what I like, and I do know what I will fight for. And I'm not afraid to ask questions and to look stupid in asking questions. But I try to keep it that I'm looking always for the first time and not get caught up in the politics around me. My problem is sometimes I understand the politics too well. Because one of the things I always teach actors is that over there is more important than over here. So if you keep your attention outside of yourself and let the machinery work, things will work much better. So my attention has been, for many years, my intention is always looking, you know. It's not about me, it's about out there. Because you're trying to affect the world. You need to look and see what what it wants. So if you want to, also why I like offbeat things is that I like the shock. So if you I want to put something on television or in the movies, I want a shock. I want people to come out and say, you know, what happened? You know, there's something. I'm moved. I look at something differently. I look at the world differently. We can solve our problems. I don't care what it is, but I saw a movie last night which I liked a lot called Metropolitan, which was a simple little movie, but it was made for under $500,000. And it was about a life I never understood. It was about the preppy life in New York. And it was wonderfully done. It was very humorous, but it was like a new way of looking at people and where they come from. You know, we're not only do we categorize people in stereotypes, we almost see the world in stereotypes. And the idea is to break down the stereotypes. You know, if you walk through Hollywood, you know, you can let's say Santa Monica, you can pretty much know what everybody thinks of George Bush.
Oh, your favorite politician?
Yeah, my favorite politician.
Okay.
But you just know what everybody thinks of George Bush. If George Bush ever did anything wonderful, nobody would know it. If Dan Quayle transformed,
yes,
that maybe would be, nobody would know it. It wouldn't fit in their, their scheme of things. If Michael Dukakis cracked a joke, people wouldn't know it, because they have a point of view that they're so stuck in their point of view, they can't see if there was, there's change, which I think is not a very liberal attitude. I think it's a very pessimistic attitude. It's like it's easy to criticize, and that's fine to do, but if there is a change and there is something good, then you should acknowledge that for what is good. But I think we need to keep on, jolting our systems. It's like perspective in the 15th century. Now I'm getting very esoteric.
Yes, okay.
It's like I always say there's three great movements in art. First of all, art changed in the 15th century because they discovered that you can do three-dimensional. You could show a three-dimensional thing on a two-dimensional plane, which was perspective, and that was great until till the Impressionists came along, and then they shocked everybody. They were a big outrage because they tried to show, a three-dimensional effect sometimes with light and color. And then finally they got accepted, and the prices went sky high. And then the 50s came along, and the people came along and said we can show 3 dimensions just with color, but people are never ready. Can't adjust to anything new. It just, they want it the way it was. They wanted to keep it very, very narrow.
What things have influenced you the most, do you think? Has there been a person, has there been an event?
Yeah, I think there's been a lot of people influencing. I think the major thing that influenced me when I was younger was the old Hollywood movies. was the story. It was like Meet John Doe and Gary Cooper movies, Spencer Tracy. My mother used to take me to the movies from the time I was 2.5 or 3. And she used to go to the movie twice a week, and at the Culver Theater, which cost 12 cents.
Here
At
in
the
LA?
time, no, in New York, in Brooklyn, on 18th Avenue.
Yeah.
She used to be double features. So from the time I was 2.5 or 3, I saw 4 movies a week.
That's it.
So I mean, there I was. So movies have always been part of my life. That was the first thing, and also it gave me. Those movies had a lot to do with good and evil, morality, you know, and so. From my sense, that I learned my morality from that. I didn't learn it from the Catholic Church that I did not like. I mean, the Catholic Church said this is good and this is evil, but what I thought was good, they thought was evil. So we didn't get along too well,
Yeah.
you know.
But you have always been a rebel. I mean, there are stories that people have recounted that wouldn't maybe mean anything to our audiences, but I've often heard that you were a part of a given group or movement or whatever, but you would be the one that would stand up and say, "Hi, you know, things aren't right here."
Well, that's the old dichotomy, though. To belong to the group was I would get involved with things because they were going to change the world.
Do you want
And
to
you
change
wanna
the world?
Yeah, I wanted to change the world, and
Yeah.
then they would become, after a while, they become so narrow that they weren't out to change the world. No, I don't think the world needs changing.
Now you don't think it needs changing?
No, I think human beings need to open up and to see things differently. You know, when Jesse Helms accepts Robert Mapplethorpe, we'll know we've moved into a new level. I don't know if you know the whole thing about Jesse Helms and trying to stop art and et cetera. He can't stand what they call pornographic art.
Uh-huh.
But when people change drastically, then that would be, or just see things differently.
You mean allow someone else's point of view to coexist with their point of view without killing them?
Yes.
That kind of thing?
Absolutely.
Frog in your throat there, Dan?
Yes. Excuse me.
How are we doing out there, audience? Dan, you always seem, you're like a rod somehow for so many people. I know,
Most people call me troublemaker.
troublemaker, yes.
Yes.
That's true. And, you know, we all have our ups and downs. You've seen me up and down. How about some downs in your life? Because, you know, you appear not to have anything like that.
Well,
Has there been a moment when you remember that, you know, it was like, it was not a life worth living kind of thing?
never, no, I never had a moment where life was not worth living, no. But I have, you know, like everybody else, had some tough times. My mother died when I was young. I was on my own pretty much very early. I worked during the day and went to college at night. It took me 6 years at night. So I've always been working since I was very young.
You're Italian.
Yeah, well.
That's what we do. Hey,
Right.
I worked from that time too. I mean, I was 6 years old, scrub the floor. Yeah.
But I mean, you know, and there was times where I was, but no, and I remember when I first met Jeannie, my wife, I was about 6 months in back rent. And she used to say, "Don't you worry?" I said, "No." She said, "Why don't you worry?" Because, you know, because I'll always make it to pay for it. And the landlord was great. He said, "Okay, whenever you got it, you'll pay me." And sure enough. But I don't worry. I had a philosophy too. Whenever I was broke and I was in some foreign country or some town,
Yeah.
I would always check into the best hotel.
You're one of those, huh?
Yes, I always check into the best hotel.
I've paid for a lot of friends who've been in good hotels. Really, huh?
Yes. I remember
So-
once I was broke in San Francisco and I checked into the Mark Hopkins. My little bag and stuff.
You did.
Then called my brother for some money to pay for the bill. But what, you know? he
You
had some
remind
money.
me of my brother. Yes, you do. Okay. So, give me a moment that you remember that was a turning point. Do you remember anything like that?
A turning point. For
Yeah.
what?
Well,
For troublemaker? No,
for
always.
troublemaker, no. You
Always.
were just always a troublemaker.
Always a troublemaker.
Or a moment that was an unexpected, elated moment that was something that you just didn't expect to turn up. You know, that kind of moment. You didn't have any. Okay, we'll change that. Okay, you asked me a question
I
now.
was driving down the block. No. I don't. You know. I mean, I think I've had lots of moments, but nothing that I think the way I work is in a way slow.
Slow.
it takes me time to see things and to work them through and think them through.
Are you pleased with the kind of impact you've had on people's lives?
Yeah. But though, remember, there's also, there's a lot I feel guilty about.
Oh, good.
Also,
Tell me.
because early when I first started teaching, I mean, I have tapes. I mean, I was a jerk. What I told people, I mean, I should go to jail for.
Yeah, you told me some stuff, I'll tell you.
But I mean, it was like, and also I hope I lost some of it. I mean, I still have some arrogance, but I was so arrogant that I used to, think that what I had to say was, universal and true, and knew more about you than you know about you. And over the years, I know that nobody knows you more than you do.
No, Dan, you did know me.
Anyway, I can give you some insights into you, but I don't know, nobody knows me better than me. Nobody knows my feelings, my pain, my love, whatever it is. You can always see it from the outside, but you never get the total experience. So you can suggest to people and to communicate to people and to create them ways to discover, but I think over the years I've learned to be, I've changed my methods to know that someone over there knows themselves better, and my job is to help them to create, not tell them what to do, and not force them into something which I don't know more about than they do. Human beings are very complex.
We are, aren't we?
And so I think I've changed my methods over, it's one time when I started, I used to use a machine gun,
Yeah.
Do it my way.
Right.
And then later on you get to say, hey, wait, there's another approach and another way. But I should put together a book of the dumb things I have said. It'd be about 30 volumes.
Really?
But but it's okay. Do you know what I mean? Because if you don't, then then you've never experimented, then you never said anything, and you never communicated. So it's
Dan,
all right.
People talk about you. One of the things that's real predominant in people's thoughts about you is that you have so much humanity, and you have so much room for people in the sense of their mistake making, and it shows up in your own life. I mean, people talk about how much room you have for yourself in your process, and you become almost like an example for people to watch, to say, oh, that's how it's done. That's how it's done. You know what I mean?
Well, I feel that I learned by making mistakes. And people have given me over the years the opportunity to make a lot of mistakes. So when people work for me, my job is, you always know you can do it better than them. That you always know intellectually.
Yeah.
But their way may work. So what you do is create some room for them to make mistakes. So the people around me, I give them the job, and it's their job. And they can, they win or lose at it. That's, it's them. I'm a very strange boss. In one way, I'm not a boss to say do A, B, C, and D. On the other way, I leave you alone a lot. But you better be creating, and you better either you're creating and failing. That's fine with me, but don't be doing nothing. You better be taking risks and being on the edge.
Good.
And that sort of I like people who are willing to
Take those risks.
take those risks. That's the kind of people I want to work with.
Well, we took a risk today. You did good.
It's over.
It's over.
Oh, good. Okay, thanks.
Dan,
It's
thank
great. It's
you.
fun being with you again.
Thank you for being with me. It's such a pleasure, and I hope we do this more.
Okay.
Create some-
You're so easy to be with.
Am I? Well, I owe it all to you. It's true. Oh. Thanks again for watching RSVP Hollywood, and please be watching for us again. Bye-bye.
never know. But I shall persist. Hey little boy, don't stand around. Time's limited. Is this the way you want me to feel? I dare forbid. I dare forbid you to treat me this way. Whoa, 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 whoa. Hey little boy, stop standing around. Don't you ever come near me. Hey, does your lover take off your frown? How long you gonna tease me? Hey little boy, stop running me down. Take care not to hurt me. Hey, does your lover, don't you be so proud? It's me that's hungry.
Hello again. All right. Thanks for tuning us in, RSVP Hollywood. And today we're going to have a lovely, luscious woman by the name of Lana
Oh, I
Will.
like the luscious
Yeah,
part.
I like the luscious
Oh,
part.
I haven't heard that in so long. It's
She
been
is.
25, 30 minutes now.
Yes, and she's
The
a
level was
writer.
getting low, yes.
Right. You do a lot of things. You're not just an actress and a gorgeous woman, but you write.
I
and
stopped
produce.
acting quite a while ago. I was very frustrated by it, actually.
Frustrated in what way?
I was, at the time when I was working a lot before the slowdown, I was always playing bad girl roles. Because if you had dark hair, and if you weren't, well, let me put it this way. If you weren't a tall blonde, you couldn't be the girl next door. You couldn't be, you were, if you looked the way I looked, then you had to be the bad girl. And I was always doing those kind of parts. And I was always very frustrated by it because I always felt that I had to pretend to be something that was someone else's vision of me and not who I was. I would go in, I would literally go in and say, look, I've got freckles. I'm short. I'm really not a tall person. And it didn't seem to matter.
Well, you played in Peyton Place.
Yes, Peyton Place for years and years.
You were a bad girl there.
Oh, of course. Certainly.
But there were only bad girls in Peyton Place.
No, Allison
well,
was, you know, good ship lollipop.
Right. And well, television was really more your arena. More than
I started in film, singular, and did a number of things when I was a child. I did a lot of Playhouse 90. I don't know if anybody even remembers that show, but
absolutely.
looking back on it, it was the most wonderful thing to have been a part of because I worked with the most spectacular people, with John Frankenheimer and John Cassavetes and just all these really fabulous people.
Well, it was the
but I was
class act
a
then.
little kid,
Yeah.
so all I remember is, you know, trying desperately not to throw up and remember my lines and where I was going to be able to hit my marks.
Did you feel that way too?
I was nervous.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I would get very wooden. I found that's what I would do when I was a kid. It's like they'd say, lean over and pick up, and I'd go, I can't. My back doesn't work that. I'll go like this. But I would get so frozen that I couldn't do it as a child.
Were you
It was
nervous?
very difficult, yeah. I ran away from home to stop acting when I was in junior high school. I had an interview set, and I didn't want to go. And so I said to my mom, bye, you know, go and picking up my little lunch bag and walked in the direction of school, went to school, got on a payphone, called my sister and said, I don't want to go on this interview, I don't want to do this, and please come and pick me up. So she came and picked me up, and that was my runaway from home. I mean, I was picked up from school and I went to my sister's house, but to me, I ran away from home.
But this
I rebelled.
It's almost an earmark. I mean, I hear Johnny Carson, I understand, regurgitates before every show. That's
Oh,
what I'm told.
I didn't literally.
But that fear.
But
So-
yeah, I wasn't
But you
comfortable
never-
with it.
you never
I
made
wasn't
it-
comfortable.
a friend of yours.
No, not really. I mean, later on, I stopped acting altogether, and then after I became, at least chronologically, an adult, I went back into acting again, and I had a lot more fun then because I feel that I had worked out various little fears and things that I had. But I wasn't really content. What I wanted so desperately to do was to be behind the cameras. I wanted to put together shows. I wanted to get into what I thought was really the meat of it.
So you really prefer behind the cameras.
I really do. Yeah.
And what drove you to write the book?
Well, I had written a book when I was 10 years old, which
No.
was submitted to, okay, I'm lying.
I just 10 years.
Wanted to see if I could sneak it by you, you know, it was worth a shot. You don't know me that well.
Right.
I had written a little story about a peanut that had gotten lost from the little peanut farm, and it was very silly. But my parents were very supportive of it. They were very sweet. They submitted it to Golden Books. I don't know if you remember those. They always had the little binding that was edged in gold, these little flat little teeny things for kids.
Sure.
And I actually got a letter back from them, and they said they were very interested in the story if I would, and this seems to be the story of my life, if I would lengthen it, because they felt that the humor was a little bit too adult for the Golden Book, but if I would make it a junior book, and I didn't. So that never came to be. And then I started writing again, basically just to clarify my feelings, or if something would strike me, I would sit and scribble little things. And
Like a journal?
Not really a journal, but little in the form of poems and things. And a dear friend of mine thought that they were very good, and at about that time I was approached and went ahead and did a Playboy layout. And then fear struck my heart once again, and I went, I don't want to be in that magazine. I don't know why I did that. I can't stand this. I hate it. I don't want to do it. And I was terrified. And I literally tracked down Hugh Hefner in his home.
No.
Okay, I'm lying. She gets me every time. She is so sharp.
What did you
Okay,
do?
no, I got him on the phone and I said, I know that I've already shot the pictures and everything. I don't want to appear in the magazine because I feel that it is against what it is I've been trying to do, which is to say, please listen to me. Please really look at me. Don't just look at the superficial. I don't feel that it's going to do me any good. And he said, well, can you think of something that would make you feel comfortable so that you will let us print the pictures? First of all, he was wonderful. He said, we'll pull it. We will not
Really?
print them. Yeah, he was fabulous. I was astonished because I thought,
surprised at
boy, I really got to go in there and, you know, play real hardball and get him not to do this. But he was wonderful. And I thought about it, and once again I talked to this dear friend of mine, and he said, Lana, why don't you have them publish some of the poetry that you've written? And then you are saying, here is a look at who I am. Here's a glimpse. And I said, great. So I submitted this book to them, and they printed the ones they wanted and then later published it intact. So that was sort of my first time being published.
Lana, I hope you're not angry with me, but I found those photographs from the Playboy magazine.
No.
Yes, I did.
No.
But I didn't bring the poems. I mean, will you feel like I'm misrepresenting you? Can we see those photographs? Come on, guys. My director is able
You'd have
and willing.
to no, like put things all over.
There it is.
Photos.
Well,
oh, you did.
We cleaned it up a little.
Oh,
They
yeah.
don't
See, I
let
don't
us
remember
do
wearing
all
that black thing, but it's a nice addition to.
Oh, gosh. Talk about, I can understand that one actually appeared in last year's issue of 100
The 100 Most Beautiful Women. Yeah. Yeah,
And
that
look
was
at
last
this
year.
one. This one was
I
actually
really
the first
thrilled.
publication of.
Yes.
And we had to have you wear that black necklace again, but it's becoming, don't you think? Could start a trend.
Sure. I had part of it on today. I saved it, and I thought
Yeah,
I'll
and just
incorporate that into my
expand it a
wardrobe.
little, right.
Sure.
But was it fun to pose?
It
Was
was
it
a
confronting?
little. I was a little nervous about it, but
What did
there
Natalie think
again, the
about that?
Playboy people are just super, or they certainly were to me. The photographer who did the shots, a very talented man by the name of Mario Casilli, called me, said, I'd like to sit and meet with you first. Let's have lunch. He took me to lunch and we sat and he said, are you comfortable indoors? Are you comfortable outdoors? How are you going to feel more relaxed? What kind of things do you like to wear? What? And we sat and chatted, and he made me feel comfortable to be with him. But even then, well, I mean, it's silly things. I remember in the morning he came to pick me up and I was thinking, I'm going to have a panty line on my hip. You worry about stupid things like that. Yeah. And then, it was a little upsetting when he'd say, could you hold in your stomach? And he'd go, of course I can. But it wasn't an unpleasant experience at all. They make it, I think, very easy for you, very pleasant. They want to help. They want the photos to be pretty. And I thought they were terrific.
And your sister Natalie, did she approve of it? Was there anything that
She never said anything to me.
Never said anything.
She never said anything to me about it at all, nothing. However, at a dinner party at her house, one of her guests said to me, oh boy, your sister really has been ragging on you about the Playboy pictures. And I went, what? So then I got my feelings hurt and left. But that's what I always do. I pick up my box of crayons and, sob and leave.
But you were close as sisters.
Oh yeah, we loved each other dearly.
And you had some disagreements from time to time.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, it wouldn't have been any good if we hadn't. You have to do that. Those are good things. I think what's really sad is when you don't care enough about someone to be able to disagree or tell them how you're feeling or I think that's part of a good relationship.
It is. I think too often we hold that as something that's a negative, and
Oh, but good things come out of that. I don't think bottling up feelings ever do anybody a whole lot of good. But I don't believe that in any area, which usually gets me in trouble. Because you do, unfortunately, run across people who want somebody to say, yes, it's wonderful, everything's terrific, you're perfect. And I don't feel that that's helpful to do. I don't think of myself as a person who hurts anyone's feelings. I'm not insensitive at all. I'm very sensitive. But I think that it's helpful, more so in a business situation, to tell someone what you really believe, rather than just go, sure, and nod your head a lot. I mean, you can buy those little dolls that'll do that.
Yeah, this business, you were raised in the business.
Yes,
Started
indeed.
as with Natalie when she was just a little tiny
She
thing.
was 4.
And what kind, the education that you have in this business must be phenomenal, and yet I know that there have been many things that have been difficult to confront. And
Well, I think any sort of a childhood that is narrow, no matter where that is, hampers you to a certain degree, because I know that I think of myself as such a naive person in so many areas. And it's because I was sheltered from a lot. What I knew was this little piece of the world that was Hollywood show business, movie sets, writers, directors, actors, actresses.
And the book is
And that
being
was it.
made into a film.
Yes, well, it's gone to script.
And you're part of the production team, are you?
I'll be co-executive producing,
Great.
which is very exciting for me. I love it. I had my taste. I went to work first for Ron Samuels over at Universal Studios as the director of development, and we did a number of films and things together. And then I went over to Jay Bernstein as his vice president of development, and I got to produce the 2-hour Mickey Splain, Mike Hammer, Murder Me, Murder You with Stacy Keach, which
Great.
became a series, and that was sort of, I went, oh yes, I love this so much, I was very excited about it. So that's that's what I want to do, because I want to do things that I really love. I don't want to spend a lot of time doing a lot of things I don't like.
But you know, one of the things that I think, whether it's been, I suppose it's been both an asset and a burden at times. I've talked to people who knew you when you were just a tiny thing with Natalie growing up, and they talked about you even when you were like 12, 13 years old. You were already a very you were a woman at that age, and I know that and as you grew up, people who had known, who were basically Natalie's friends and boyfriends, etc. They talked about you as if you were beautiful, and you were sexy even when you were a teenager.
What was that black bar I used to wear across my chest? I worked every time. I don't know.
Were you aware of that kind of attention at that?
No, not really. I felt such an ugly duckling. Yeah. I really did.
Because your looks are very different.
Very different. Very different.
I mean, you wouldn't look at Natalie and you and say, they're sisters. You know, there's a very different.
Although there are times, because I mean, you change facially. There are times, I think, when we looked more alike, and then your features just change. I don't know what it is.
Well,
but the eye color is different, and
and some of the facial bone structure.
Yeah, she had a rounder
things
face.
like this.
Yeah.
What are some of the moments that you remember as really being impactful moments with Natalie that you recall?
Oh, there's so many. I mean, that's how I ended up writing a book that became a bestseller, which I didn't think it would be. I kept thinking, nobody's going to read this. They're not going to want to read this. It's boring.
A funny
because, well, I really felt that there wasn't anything sensational in it. There were no drugs or wild parties. We led a very sheltered life. Natalie was very dedicated to what she was doing. She was very much involved in continuing to be who it was the people perceived her as. And her life was sheltered, as mine was. So I don't know.
Have you made the adjustment with the death? And
I don't know that you really ever do. I think that continues to color things for you for the rest of your life, because things are different. So they can't ever not have an impact, an event like that. I think it continues to color my life.
And yet I watch you with your daughter.
Oh, I just love her to pieces.
It's such a unique relationship.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I mean, you.
I guess it must be because so many people say that to us. They go,
"Yeah,
you guys,
I mean,
are you related?" And we go, "Good. Whoa, no grass growing under your feet."
No, you play. You're playful. You cut up with each other. It is not the stereotype mother-daughter kind of relationship that most people think of.
No?
No, not for
Does that mean I'm doing it wrong?
Well, do you think you're doing it wrong?
No. I'm doing what I think is right for me and for her. But then I don't think not that anybody wants to know my opinion on raising children. That and 75 cents will get you a Diet Coke. But I don't think there is a book of rules. I think that you have to do what you think is right at the time, and not use someone else's guidelines. Well, my daughter should be doing this, or she should be doing that, or she should be doing that. No, she should be doing, obviously when they're younger, you don't touch this and you don't do that, and, please stop eating the dirt. But she's got to do what she feels is right, and whatever she feels is right, I'll be accepting of.
You have a fabulous sense of humor. You're very quick.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. And
well, it's a peculiar sense of
humor.
It
is a peculiar sense
Not
of humor.
everybody understands it. And
I have
looked at askance a lot.
Roll the tape back and catch myself when I'm around you. But it's you have your own kind of unique persona that I don't know that it really got a chance to evidence itself in some of the roles that you had. I mean, do you feel like you...
No, I don't think I was ever able to draw on a lot of me. I felt like I was literally stepping into a role instead of bringing myself into it. It was too easy. I kept doing the same kind of roles over and over again and couldn't get the other roles. And it just became do it by rote. And then when I did the James Bond film and I was asked to tour the world, by the 5th country, I think I said during a press conference that if UA had been able to transport the moon buggy as easily as they could send me, the moon buggy would be here. I felt like a piece of meat and I didn't like it. I really didn't like it. Okay, I don't know, it just wasn't what I wanted to do.
And that was I think that we've come a long way too. I mean, in short periods of time, I mean, or at least there is a lot more vocal approach about the way we hold women. I mean, I think that there's still the side that holds it just the way they did before, but at least there is the other side that's sort of saying, hey, let's relook at this a bit.
Sure.
Yeah. Sure. So what do you want to do next? What do you think is like up for you? And
well, I've got a couple of stories that I want to get rolling.
Yeah. Funny stories?
One of them, my humor is such that it comes out of real situations that might be a little uncomfortable for someone, but what I try to do is find the funny things to laugh about in an uncomfortable situation, because that's how I feel you get through difficult things. Find something that's all right about it, something that you'll learn or something that you can pick up and use. It's something that's funny. And that's basically what my writing is as well. So it's sort of, they can be very black situations, but then there is this peculiar humor in them as well. So I don't know, I keep, one of them is just sort of my baby that I keep going over, and one of these days. But I'd like to do that, and I have my eye on a couple of books that I would like very much to do.
That you want to write?
No, that I would like to option, right.
Speaking of babies, what would you, if you had your choice, what would you do to change Evan's course, your daughter's course, if you had anything that you could do to, you know, to pass on to her in terms of
if I could
of
change
wisdom,
her course,
something that you could share with her? And
the only thing I would say to her, or I mean to anyone, is tolerance of other people and their likes and dislikes and their fallibilities, their weaknesses. I think that there are far too many intolerant people, and that's the one thing that really, really bothers me, is not understanding someone else. People try, I guess they do it because it's easier for them to understand another person if they can just plop you in a box of some sort and say, aha, Pisces, dark-haired, you know, whatever, you know, liberal Democrat nonsense, without, but then not being tolerant of other things. And I just don't like doing that. I don't like it for myself. And it makes me uncomfortable when other people do it.
And you're a champion of the little four-leggeds.
Oh, yes. Oh,
you have a little menagerie of your own.
Oh, my house is absolutely hysterical. I have 4 cats and a bird who we allow to fly free in the house. He goes into his cage at night.
That's the ultimate.
But otherwise, you'll be walking through a room and here comes Alex, you know, streaming past your head, landing on something, whistling, landing on your shoulder, and he hits you hard. He's only this big, but this bird lands on your head. I can't take a shower without the stupid bird. He knows when I'm going to take a shower, and he's in there, and I'll lift my arm up. He lands on my arm, and then I've got to sit there like this. He bathes, and I've got to wait for him to finish, and the cats are all running around. You sit down, you've got a cat on your lap, you've got a cat on your shoulder, you've got a cat on the TV set, and they all want to play. But I like it. To me, that's a terrific way to live. Yeah. I think it's just nice. Everything seems alive and
what about the men in your life?
Pleasant. I don't have any.
You don't have any?
I don't have
Come on, nobody's going to believe that.
I don't have any.
You don't have? Well,
no.
that's not, certainly not, that has to be your choice.
I don't know. I'm sort of, I don't know. I'm just going through, I'm not really disillusioned, but I guess I've just sort of reached a point in my life where you have to put so much into a relationship just to get somebody to know you. It's a lot of effort, so I sort of sit back and watch people very carefully and say, do I really want to spend a whole lot of time trying to understand this human being and being a tolerant, considerate, kind person, good partner, and receive that back, hopefully. But I mean, it's a lot of time that you've got to put into a relationship. And at this point, I basically know what I like and dislike. And
So you
and
can do
I'm
a
not
sort
a
of
good
10-second readout?
date. I'm not a good date.
You're not a
because,
good date?
Well, no, because I'm a little
Why?
outspoken and I'm a little silly.
I think
I know
that's
you haven't
great.
noticed that.
No, to me,
But
I
it-
would think that that's something that would be appealing. I mean,
Well, I don't know.
I don't think the men are.
I mean, I get, you know, through the grapevine, friends calling back saying, well, they thought you were a little intimidating. And I said, I don't understand it at all. But, I mean, there
You
is the
haven't
other part of
intimidated
me. Sure I have. Don't be silly. Kathleen, tell the truth.
I tell it all. Humor,
Okay.
Humor.
No, I mean, there is a very quiet part of me, but basically I prefer to look on the lighter side. I've had enough tragedies where I really, I prefer to fill my life with happy things when I possibly can, because you never know when that brick is going to come out and hit you on the side of your head again. So you've got to, it's almost like you've got to arm yourself.
Yeah, yeah.
Enjoy things a lot and wait for the next brick.
Well, I've enjoyed having you on the show.
Well, thank you. It's been my pleasure.
And I hope there are no bricks after the lights go out here.
It's yours! I ducked. You got that one. No.
All right, we'll be looking for your books that
Yes.
you're going to write, your poetry that you're probably going to publish again, and most certainly
I might, yeah.
and the film Natalie. Is it going to be called Natalie?
I would prefer it not to be, but those are all things we're still in the bickering stages
and
on a
yet
couple of items with it, yeah.
But that's the name of the book.
Yes,
So it,
yes, and it's Natalie and my story growing up.
So
That's
we'll
nice.
watch for all
Sister
of that.
story.
A
Yes,
sister story.
A sister story, it's what
That's
it
right.
is.
Well, thank you
Real
for
life.
being on
Thank
my
you,
show.
my pleasure.
Great. And thank you, everyone. Yeah. Thanks. Thanks for watching again, and be watching for us on RSVP Hollywood. Bye-bye.
Ralph, no kitty? You don't have to